The Estonian capital Tallinn has had many faces. It has been an important Hanseatic city, a port of the Soviet Empire, an Olympic city, and an industrial city. Our fight for independence began with demonstrations to protect our nature and the environment. 30 years ago, at Tallinn Song Festival grounds, we sang for freedom, regained our independence, and this gave the city of Tallinn a chance to become a green city for its residents. Times change fast, but a child draws her perfect home always the same way. As a place where her family is happy, where they have nice neighbors, and with nature surrounding it. Is that really possible in a city? Take Tallinn, it sure is. Because exactly this is the new and future face of Tallinn, a city where you can feel at home in the middle of nature. Estonia is the world champion in fast changes, and our citizens want to live in their dream capital city already now. Welcome to Tallinn, our home. Hello, I'm Krista Campus, and I'm the Head of Development and International Cooperation Department. For a better city, all my colleagues give their best every day. These long-time employees of the city, they work hard for Tallinn to be the green city. They work in one of the 5 Natura 2000 protection areas in Tallinn, only a 20-minute bike ride from the city hall. Protected areas make up to 20% of Tallinn's territory, and to ensure the further protection of city biodiversity, we are currently drafting the new Environmental Protection Plan. And over the next 14 years, we plan to increase the protected areas to 2,200 hectares.
Hi, I'm Mihkel Kaevats. I lead the green transition of Tallinn city. I'm a third-generation Tallinner, one of the 580,000 people in the urban area. That makes up almost a half of Estonia's population. As a small country, we are used to seeing every problem as a blessing. If you don't have something yet, just go and get it. This kind of startup approach is applied to Tallinn city development as well. For example, when I started to fight for the rights of Tallinn cyclists 24 years ago, and yes, I was an underage teenager, we didn't have one single cycling road. Today, we have 305 kilometers and counting. Also, the demand is growing daily. To mitigate this, we are creating pop-up cycling roads that pave the way to more permanent solutions.
Last December, the City Council approved a new comprehensive development strategy for the city called Tallinn 2035. This strategy is the city's most important development document. It defines the main strategic directions and development targets for the city. One of the strategic directions for Tallinn is green transition. The strategy wasn't born in the silent corridors of bureaucracy. Far from that. More than 6,000 people helped us define the city, what they want Tallinn to be.
In the process, 800 children drew their dream Tallinn. Why children? Because it will be their city. In today's presentation, our focus is on the 3 main topics in shaping a green city. When you get the children excited about something, it's like the weeds. It will grow everywhere and it will infect the parents.
Tuppi sisse panna ja happukoore sisse, salati sisse, kartuli sisse, et olvaks hoida.
See õppeaed on hästi oluline sellepärast, et linnalapsed just näeksid, kust kartul tuleb, kust tuleb porgand, mis on maitsetaimed ja saavad ise käed mullaseks teha. Ja see õnn ja rõõm, mis nende nägudes on, et kuidas nad võtavad midagi üles, on hästi kirjeldamatu.
Täna oleme siin Kuldatera lasteaias, kus on just üks põnev õppevisiit teistele õppeaiapidajatele. Ja tegu on nimelt permapeenraga. Meil tänaseks on juba üle 100 õppeaia Tallinnas. Kindlasti on selliseid traditsioonilisi, mis on juba aastakümneid olnud, selliseid rohelisi nurgakesi lasteaedades või koolides. Aga viimased 2 aastat on Tallinnas linna poolt toetatud õppeaedade programmi, mille käigus on siis väga aktiivselt arenenud peale lasteaeda koolidega noortekeskustes, raamatukogudes, huvikoolides, tugikeskustes, igasugustes erinevates linnaasutustes just selline aiandustegevus.
Meie käime iga esmaspäeval õhtu käime koos, kella 6 tuleme siia ja siis vaatame, mis meil siin on teha tuleb.
See on kõikidele, kõik võivad siit võtta, kes on meie kogukonnas. Võtta siit saaki, kurki, tomatid, maitseaineid.
У нас очень хороший здесь коллектив. Мы тут общаемся, мы тут за столом сидим. Вот. Это очень большое дело. Когда помимо работы можно еще поковыряться в земле.
We have 92 learning gardens in our kindergartens and schools, and 21 community gardens. The number of community gardens grows every year. New parks and neighborhoods already come with embedded communal food growing possibilities. Today, almost 80% of Tallinners live up to 300 meters from a public green area. But we want to create more small green spaces on the streets and squares because constant greenery is the most shared need of our citizens.
We invest 10 million euros annually into green spaces. We have 61 parks and 131 green areas. Just a few days ago, we opened a new 28-hectare Tondiraba park in one of the former Soviet-era residential areas, which previously had very few green spaces. We are also looking ways to connect existing green areas by planning and creating green corridors. For example, Tondiraba Park connects the Pirita riverbed with our oldest, the Kadrioru Park.
Tallinnas vabalt elab üüratult palju erinevaid loomi, linde, imetajaid, aga üle kõige on loomulikult putukad. Siin samas on vähemalt 20 liigist ainult himalasi. Need liigid, kes on enam-vähem kõikjal Eestis, kus on puhas loodus. Meil on siin ka eragmesilasi. Ja kui kimalasi siin kandis on umbes 20 liigist, eragmesilasi vähemalt 30. Üks nendest on väga hiljuti saabunud. See on liivamesilaste sugukonna liik Andrena, kuulake, Barbilabris, milline nimi. See tähendab muuseas, et tal on habetunud huuled. Siin on loomulikult päevaliiblikaid, vähemalt 33 eri liigist. Oi, mu sõbrad, roheline linn, seda enam roheline pealinn, see on kõige parem koht maailmas, kus inimestel elada.
Putukaväil on Tallinna linna läbiv rohekoridor, mis on väga soodne elupaik putukatele ja väga meeldiv liikumiskoridor ka Tallinna elanikele. Siin see Putukaväil läbib läbi 6 linnaosa ja ühtlasi ta ühendab ka erinevaid suuri rohealasid Tallinna linnas. Nii et mööda Putukaväila liikudes saavad inimesed liikuda ühelt rohealalt teisele, aga saavad seda teha ka putukad ja teised loomarühmad. Putukaväil kulgeb mööda koridori, mis aastakümneid olid kasutusel raudteekoridorina ja kõrgepingeliini koridorina.
See Putukaväila peenar siin on üks 3 mesilaspeenrast Putukaväilal, mis on nektaririkastest taimedest varje ja toidupaik mesilastele, tolmendajatele ja teistele väikestele ja elusolenditele. Ja samal ajal on see ka inimestele ilu, vormi ja värvikoht. Tolmendajad on väga olulised linnakeskkonnas. Nad tolmendavad meie enda tarbetaimi, kõrvitsaid, tomateid, kurke, ube ja kõike muud. Samamoodi ka lilli. Pikkade kilomeetrite tagant jõuavad nad meie aeda.
Tallinn Science Park Technopolis Science Park and Business Campus. We are running here Green Tech cluster. We have over 40 different green tech companies and one corporation you see behind me. These are smart bee hives. We are collecting more than 8 different parameters to predict different situations in the future and to better bees conditions in urban living environment. Bees are very important in the cities because they help to enrich biodiversity.
The first phase of the Pollinator Highway passes through North Tallinn on the Kopli Peninsula. This used to be a closed-off Soviet industrial area. This is the experimental model of Tallinn where to test how mixing all domains strategically protects biodiversity, transforms the grey into green, avoids dependency on cars, offers a climate-neutral living environment and will be a walkable 15-minute city. To include people into the future, we have an augmented reality app where the ideas of the Pollinator Highway come to life. This way, the vision is always in front of our eyes.
Our approach to real estate development is more technological. The goal is to create a digital tool where we gather all the knowledge from different parties, and in collaboration with the city of Tallinn, we want to create the first testbed for a climate-neutral environment. Here in Paljassaare Hundipea, where we are going to transform this old Soviet time brownfield into a fully climate-neutral city area. For example, we want to produce electricity in the water treatment plant that is next to us. So in that sense, the pancake that you eat in the morning is the source of electricity for the steak that you're going to fry in the evening. We are also creating a 3D model of the area. The goal of that is to make sure that all the buildings are set in a way that we can take the maximum out of the sun cycles throughout the year, as we have scarce sun energy otherwise, and our green roofs and green city forests otherwise cannot be grown properly. Coming to city forests, also the goal of bringing forests into the city is that when northern winds come in, then we block the cold temperature within the city space, so the people who work there, live there daily can actually have a very nice and pleasant climate despite the wrong winds coming in. Some other good examples for technologies that we want to use is, for example, for using the thermal energy of the sea that is next to us. The goal of that is to reduce the energy that we need for heating up and cooling down the buildings and apartments and offices.
Tallinn is located on the shore of the Baltic Sea. I'm happy to see that more and more companies are investing in hydro energy. And this is an excellent example on how the private sector can contribute to achieving our climate objectives.
Tallinna Sadam on siis hea näide sellest, kuidas muuta linna rohelisemaks. Selleks on Tallinna Sadam siis ehitanud kruiisiterminali, mille jahutus ja küte võetakse otse mereveest. Kasutatakse selleks meresoojusvahetit, kus siis merevee soojus ja energia, mis on merevee sees, muudetakse siis reaalseks hoones olevaks soojusenergiaks või siis jahutusenergiaks. Selle jaoks on vaja ka elektrit, selle jaoks on hoones paigaldatud katusele 250 kilovatti ulatuses päikesepaneele. Me põhimõtteliselt toodame siin rohkem elektrit, kui me ise tarbime.
District heating has been developed in Tallinn over the last 60 years. And by now, more than 2/3 of the city's heating needs are covered with this environmentally friendly and efficient solution. Focused efforts to reduce use of fossil fuels have been successful. Already 70% of district heating was supplied from renewable and high-efficiency sources last year. Utilities will continue to invest in expanding the network and adding new sources of heat to the system to reach carbon neutrality by 2030 at latest. This year's hot summer showed that mist fountains in the city are not enough. We need more efficient solutions. To provide a zero-carbon solution to meet increasing cooling demands in the city, we are developing district cooling networks in Tallinn, intending to use refreshing and cool nearby sea for that purpose.
In order to create the green cityscape, you need to have great urban density. And this also means that the concept of 15-minute city is extremely important. In the future, we also hope that these practices and the knowledge that we gather here can be transferred to other developments and other parts of the city in Tallinn, and why not also the neighboring countries in general.
Our main environmental challenges are described in our Climate Action Plan, which the City Council adopted in June. The Climate Action Plan stipulates the aim to reduce the city's greenhouse gas emissions by 40% by 2030 and specifies how to achieve the climate neutrality goal by 2050. The key measures to be taken are improving energy efficiency, reducing emissions from buildings and transport, and transition to a circular economy. So, we are committed to fulfilling the goals of the Covenant of Mayors.
We're building on crisis because in crisis, new ideas are born. The Noblesne submarine factory has been regenerated to a new favorite place among Tallinners. The next heavy lifter is the former Põhjala rubber boot factory that has been transformed into a new community center where the local community, together with designers and small family enterprises, are testing new sustainable products and services.
The city of Tallinn is also running several co-creation projects in the area. For example, the Centrino project, which aims to regenerate the historic industrial site and transform it into a creative hub and community center. In addition, the project is organizing training and awareness-raising events and developing small reuse and repair workshops in partnership with local people to support the circular economy.
In the next few years, also Krulli and Volta neighborhoods are going to be built into old industrial areas, bringing 2,000 energy-efficient homes along with businesses. The one-time Europe's biggest textile mill, the Baltic manufacturer, will also house hundreds of people and many companies. With all these developments, they are creating new green areas out of brown fields, because people want to live in the city, but a life more like in the countryside. Sometimes the solutions needed are not even on the market. They have to be developed. This is the vision of the Wolfscape neighborhood. They are not only developing real estate, they are working out the climate-neutral neighborhood model, one that could be exported to other cities as well.
Tallinn is a capital city where people come to work and study from the neighboring municipalities. Unfortunately, still mostly by car. To find a solution to this problem, we are creating a platform for an on-demand public transport system. Mapping people's mobility needs gives us a better understanding of what additional methods to use to decrease the car use.
Principles of mobility have changed in the city, but I think they should transform even faster. We want it to be a part of a multimodal mobility system, attracting 70% of Tallinners to take it. To have a unified mobility system, we're cooperating with TalTech and Aalto universities. In the AI for Cities project, we are focusing on artificial intelligence solutions for mobility challenges to accelerate carbon neutrality, optimizing the use of electric vehicle charging locations by giving AI-based recommendations.
In recent years, the use of shared electric vehicles has increased in Tallinn. Therefore, we are currently launching the Cityscope pilot in cooperation with a French startup called Vajanova. We create real-time data platform and map application that displays vehicle locations, trajectories, and availability. The platform will provide us with the data that allows for the better planning of mobility infrastructure. Scooters, of course, need designated parking areas, and we have made 70 of them this year. We are also proud that the only electric scooter production in Europe is located in Tallinn.
Sustainability runs in the DNA of Co-Module and Tool. So everything what we do, we try to do for the planet. 42% of the materials going into the scooter are already recycled materials. And in the end of the life cycle of the scooter, 90% of the materials will be recycled. We have the swappable batteries. Secondly, we have a modular design, so if one part of the scooter fails, it's very, very easy to change the part. It's the most durable scooter in the world. In sharing environment, it will last for 5 years, but in the hands of the end consumer, it will last for 10 years or even more. And needless to say, we use sustainable energy here in the factory to produce the scooters.
A sustainable way to go is Tallinn's accessible public transport. It's unique because it's free for our citizens. It's accessible, because almost 90% of our citizens live in a 400-meter journey from public transport. Tallinn's public transport is on constant move. We built a new tram line to the airport. Next up, we'll connect the port. We'll be investing 90 million euros in new tram lines in the next few years. As a bridge towards truly sustainable public transport, we have 350 gas buses today. We are on track to test 10 hydrogen buses and plan to have a climate-neutral free public transport by 2035. For next year, we are completing the Noise Reduction Action Plan. In this way, we'll get a safer, greener, and a climate-neutral city.
Also here in the far north, it has been incredibly hot for a few months in a row. So here in Tallinn Animal Shelter birthday, a lot of people are discussing Tallinn's future, how to make our climate action plan work, because it needs everybody's commitment and we need everybody aboard. Let's see what the people are saying.
I like to have more greenery in Tallinn, especially, for example, green alleys.
Sa võid olla lihtsalt suur koerasõber või toetada loomade varjupaika või olla karusloomafarmide keelustamise poolt. Aga on üks asi, mis seob meid kõiki, kes me oleme siia kogunenud, see on see, et kui meie ei tegele kliimaga, siis tegeleb kliima meiega.
This summer's weather circumstances gave a concrete signal that we really have to act fast. For example, people needed drinking water taps in public space, and we doubled them during the summer. We also put them on the map so that citizens and guests of Tallinn can easily find them.
The Tallinn 2035 strategy follows the UN Sustainable Development Goals and is a social agreement on how the city developments will be directed. The strategy sets the objective to become a green and global city and has 6 interlinked strategic goals. The strategy, together with the climate plan, compose the main strategic framework for green transition of Tallinn. We want also to take a more coherent approach, where the planning and financing are better linked. Therefore, we are elaborating on the Tallinn 2030 action plan that will connect the targets, planned investments and services with the city budgetary process. We are also working on the city dashboard, which is a digital portal to collect, analyze and visualize the data for better decision-making and to monitor the progress of achieving the goals. The green transition also requires a governance model that supports it. Therefore, we want to move from isolated silos to formal and informal networks and cooperation. To achieve this, Tallinn Strategy Center was set up. The aim was to bring all the key units like spatial planning, service design, circular economy, strategy development, digitalization and smart city projects under one umbrella. In addition, we also established the Green Transition Competence Center to support the Tallinn Climate Plan implementation. The role of the Strategy Coordination Board is to support horizontal cooperation between the city departments.
We know that the green transition depends on the right mindset. All people working in the city organization should understand what it is and what their role in its implementation is. For that, in cooperation with an NGO called Green Tiger, we launched Tallinn's Green Transition Academy. The first training took place just a few days ago. It is also vital to engage the communities and private sector actors. Some examples of the cooperation we have presented above. To implement Tallinn's climate goals, we will initiate the People's Climate Parliament next year.
To bring more innovations to the city, we have also moved towards a more systematic and practical partnership with universities. Currently, we have 7 ongoing projects to test and pilot innovative technologies and solutions. I came to visit our good cooperation partner Ülemiste City. Collaboration with universities is integral part of the Tallinn Green Governance model. First, scientists test new innovation and technologies in a lab. Then we test it and pilot in urban environment and scale it up in cooperation with other cities in partnership in Europe. That is what I call smart city.
Ülemiste City is the biggest business district in Baltic countries, and we are developing it together with Tallinn City in collaboration. One and very important topic for us is buildings sustainability. We have 87% of our buildings which has LEED certificate. It allows to decrease the energy consumption and water consumption a lot. Additionally, we have been used Estonian startup R8 technologies, what allows to decrease energy from PMS systems. It means that the system adapts indoor climate according to usage, and it allows to decrease the energy. We have 13,000 people, and we want to have outdoor working areas or relaxation areas in our campus. And additionally, to understand how people are using these areas, we are using FIMA AI solution to understand how long people are using it and what we can improve to make these green places more comfortable and people-friendly. All these sustainable developments are bringing together data, and data is very important to make a clever solution to develop green and sustainable city. Therefore, together with Tallinn, we have been established Future City Professorship, where Professor Jenni Pardanen, together with doctoral students, are discovering how we can use the data what cities generating in clever way in 3 work packages. One is mobility. If city will develop, how we can develop it in a way that we don't need to have a lot of parking areas, rather than we have very convenient mobility solution. Second is to create vital urban space, how we can improve city vitality. And the third package is city economy, how we can develop it in a way that city economy will grow and city will be able to make as well sustainable movements. This is a way how we build a future greener city together with Tallinn City.
My name is Ralf Martinsoo. I'm founding director of Finnish Center for Smart Cities, and our aim is to set up a world-leading center for smart cities based in Tallinn. We are testing future mobility, mainly demand-based transport and in line with automated and green transport system. we have initiated a very interesting twin city project between the cities of Tallinn and Helsinki, which is called Green Twins, and that aims building up the system how to measure the dynamics of greener areas in the cities and then put it on the 3D format as well. And lastly, we also have a digi-audit project jointly with the city of Tallinn, where we are measuring indoor climate and temperature in at least 45 educational buildings. And this is very important, especially in the context of COVID-19 as well. So this is something that aims to become world leading in the field of urban development.
All the mentioned organizational changes and cooperation formats are the components of our green governance ecosystem. Leading the green transition means constant learning and learning together. Therefore, we cooperate with many international partners and other cities. For us, sustainability is very important. Different studies have highlighted that 65 of the SDGs targets cannot be achieved without local governments. Therefore, the URBACT pilot network called Global Goals for Cities was launched in March this year. The network consists of 19 cities from 19 European countries, and Tallinn is leading the network. The aim is to support the EU Green Deal objectives by accelerating SDGs planning and implementation in the cities and elaborating relevant indicators for localization.
Today's cities face significant challenges. The COVID-19 pandemic clearly showed us that the one sector, one action approach no longer supports urban resilience. Instead, addressing complex challenges require collaborative problem-solving and integrated solutions. For a green transition, we need a new governance model that supports it. For this reason, we aim to create an international green governance hub in Tallinn. It would complement the already existing cross-border Smart City Center of Excellence created in cooperation with Helsinki, Tallinn and universities. The Tallinn Green Governance Hub would act as a center of excellence that looks at the city as a whole and helps cities to develop green transition models and financing schemes with the focus on synergies between different sectors.
So, let's have a look at Tallinn's European Green Capital events. As you can see, we have a lot and each event would deserve a proper introduction, but I'll shortly run over the most important ones. In 2022, we'll be hosting an international conference for the 19 European cities on how to implement the SDGs into city policies. It will have a global influence ambition, introducing a model for green transition in cities. Also, we'll be studying the role of green procurements in the circular economy for cities and regions with the OECD. Also, we'll host the Citizens' Climate Parliament on sustainable mobility. Let's see what goals the citizens want us to achieve. In 2024, we will be making conclusions from our Green Capital Year. Our focus will be again on our citizens and the international community. We'll be hosting a Citizens' Parliament on green areas and introduce the concept of Citizens' Green Capital projects to other cities. In 2023, the year when Tallinn is the European Green Capital, we'll create a bombastic array of events. For example, we'll gather project ideas from our citizens and finance the projects from half of the European Green Capital Award money in a participatory budget. The other half, €300,000, Along with our own contribution, we will be spending on promoting the European Green Capital abroad, building up a network for a new European Green Governance Hub based in Tallinn. The 2023 Tallinn Vision Conference will be hosting the heads of previous European green capitals who will share their experience in order to promote its influence. On the same wave, we will organize a Green Governance Model Conference during the EU Week for Cities and Regions. But we wouldn't be Estonians without the huge song festival in Tallinn. It will host more than 100,000 people. Only that from Tallinn's European Green Capital year on, it will be zero waste. Imagine that. 100,000 people in one place and no waste at all. Right now, the Future City Forum is taking place in Tallinn. Startups, researchers and the community are discussing on how to create a green smart city. This is how we co-create the future in Tallinn, the city where the future isn't fiction.